Hi, everybody. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining. I hope you liked my little countdown intro. Hope it got everybody excited. I'm Helen with One Structural, and we are doing another all-service webinar today. And I also wanted to spend a little bit more time to talk about the reports, since a lot of you, especially HOAs and some proactive landlords, have your reports already and are probably wondering what to do. So we will get into that. If you have any questions, please put it into the chat box and I will do my best to get to them. You can also give us a call. At the end, I will put our email and our phone number for you to give a call if you need any of our services or have additional questions that I didn't cover in today's presentation. So I will get into it. I'm going to share my screen. It's going to be a PowerPoint presentation that covers all of our services, what we provide, and how we can help you if you are a property manager for HOAs, apartments, landlords, condo owners. Then all of our services apply to you. Okie doke. So you should be able to see my screen and I will begin. So if this is your first time joining us, we have 3 divisions that are all under the One Structural name. We have Balcony 1 that covers all things SB 721, SB 326, inspections, reports, waterproofing, repairs. Even if you've already completed those, but you need to rebuild a deck, you need to prime and seal, resurface, rebuild, whatever it is, we can do. We have ADU1, which specializes in accessory dwelling units for both multifamily properties and single-family homes. And we have Retrofit 1, which specializes in soft story seismic retrofitting for multifamily soft story buildings. We do a little bit of brace and bolting for single-family homes, but our main area is soft story multifamily properties, whether they are apartment buildings or condos and HOAs. If they're soft story, you may need to be retrofitted. And we are licensed engineers. We are licensed general contractors. We're licensed painting contractors. We are also licensed plumbers. So we do a whole lot all under the One Structural name. And even within these 3 divisions, we're all the same company. We all handle it. We just have it kind of separated into divisions just to make it a little easier for our clientele with the service that they're receiving. As mentioned, these are our services: retrofitting, SB 721, SB 326, structural repairs, painting, general community maintenance, stucco repair, foundation work, drainage problems, retaining walls, stuff like that. We do. So if you need any of those services, again, whether they are mandated by your city or state, or you just need these types of repairs and maintenance and services, or it's part of your reserve studies, give us a call, let us know. We can most likely provide you with that service. I will start with seismic retrofitting for soft story buildings. So seismic retrofitting is a structural reinforcement on the exterior of a building for soft or weak buildings, such as the picture that you see here that has what's called tuck under parking. So it's those openings, whether there's a garage door or not, it is still an open cavity, creating a soft line from left to right. That is a soft line that needs to be reinforced. The existing building code did not meet actual seismic needs, as we've seen, unfortunately, through the last decades. And I also want to say, I know a lot of people are like, oh, well, my building has already had several earthquakes and it's fine. It may not just need one earthquake to take it out. You know, heaven forbid, that'd be awful. Especially the magnitude or whatever it's called that would require that. That would be terrible for all of us. What you're not realizing is that it could easily take 5 of them to be, you know, slowly cracking that existing concrete pad where that post is. The post can start to bend. And if it's behind stucco, you won't even notice it. So it could take a few until something actually happens. So even if it has, you know, been able to still stand strong, thank goodness, it doesn't mean that it's not getting damaged or cracks or some type of issue is happening through those earthquakes that it's experienced already. So that is an example of how we're structurally reinforcing. That's a moment frame. We do remove some stucco. We affix the steel columns and beams to the building. We also create new foundation systems underground that the column, the steel goes in, and it's filled with concrete and leveled with the rest of the driveway. If you do have to get your building retrofitted, the requirements are first, work with an engineer, because there are more than one way to retrofit and design a building. So it really has a lot to do with the experience of the engineer, where they place your steel, how much steel they're putting. So not only is that a criteria to consider, but that also affects your construction costs. If your building only needs 2 columns, for example, but somebody's doubling that just to be on the safe side, both will meet code. One is a little extra and unnecessary. That's also going to double your construction cost, really for no reason. So the engineer is, in my opinion, the most important part of the retrofit process. Then, of course, the plans get submitted to the city. They go through a plan check process until they're approved and the permit is RTI, ready to issue. You pull the permit and then you can start construction. We offer all of these services together. Or if you already have engineering plans for honestly any of our services, if you have engineering plans for anything we offer from a third-party engineer, you can send to us and we can bid on the work. So here's some photos of completed job. Very important to note the location of this column. I'm sure it stands out a little bit to the left of that door is where our engineer designed the column, because again, the soft area is that line. It's not intended for a gravity hold underneath the unit itself and in between the parking. It's meant for lateral force absorption, basically. So the column is there with, you can kind of see that strip, that new foundation strip that extends a little bit to the left and to the right of that new column. So again, very important which engineer you work with. Here's more photos of a completed retrofit job. And that is all. Lastly, what I want to say about the retrofitting, it is now required in Burbank. So if you're a Burbank property owner and you have a soft story building, please let us know. We will come out there. We will do a walkthrough and then provide you with a quote, all free of charge. Long Beach also requires it. Culver City. Torrance, I think, is either official or it will be soon. And then San Jose just pushed back their ordinance. It will now take effect April 2026 for San Jose, which we also serve too. So if you have a building in any of those new areas, or if you have a building in any of the old ordinance zones, West Hollywood, Santa Monica, Los Angeles, Pasadena, Beverly Hills, I'm sure there's more. Just let us know. Again, if you already have the plans, send them over. I will provide you with a bid. Any of us will provide you with a bid. If you need both, we're here to provide all the service. So now I will jump into SB 721 and SB 326, which again is a state required law. It applies to every single multifamily property, whether it's an apartment or a condominium with 3 or more units. And of course has exterior elevated elements. And the purpose is to inspect the waterproofing system as well as the load-bearing components. So we're inspecting the deck surface, the walking surface where actual legs will go. And we're inspecting the other load-bearing components too, including the joists, the wood joists that are within the balcony. So, or walkway. So if you see all the way on the right, that's a walkway. Although it has, there's fascia, there's stucco. Inside of it are floor joists that run perpendicular to the walkway itself because they go through the building and they go through the units. So we have to check that wood because the issue that happens is if you have a problem on your deck surface and your waterproofing and water is getting in, where is that water going? It's going and soaking in your joists. And then you're going to find a whole lot of problems with that. The structure will get weaker and then somebody could get hurt. and then it's going to cost you a whole lot more money to fix severe damage than changing out your waterproofing, for example, and preventing that damage from happening. So that is the purpose of this law. And of course, to pay our respects for the real reason that this happened was because that did happen in Berkeley in 2015 at UC Berkeley. Many students died who were on a balcony that collapsed due to dry rot and other structural problems. So let's hope that we can prevent other issues with the balcony, more importantly, casualties and people dying. So the purpose is to prevent that from happening, injury and death. So this law was effective in 2019. The first deadline just passed January 1st, 2025. That deadline was for HOAs. The only deadline that was extended was for apartment buildings. So we get that question a lot too. So if you're a landlord or a property manager for apartments, your deadline was extended to January 1st, 2026. So you have a few months now left to get it done. So not that much time. Again, buildings with 3 or more units with exterior elevated elements, apartments, HOAs, condos. This applies to elements that are at least 6 feet above the ground. So ground floor patios are exempt. This applies to wood framed, has to have wood, or at least be primarily wood. I see occasionally some stairways, for example, that have concrete steps, but the stringers are wood that go along the side, and the handrails are wood. So that still has to be inspected, even if the steps are concrete, because the rest of the framing is made out of wood. If it's entirely steel and concrete, then it is exempt. So here's just, again, a list of what I've already been describing: stairways, landings, walkways. This does not only apply to balconies. Since I know some people refer to this law as the balcony law, it applies to all exterior elevated elements, or E3, as some areas are calling it. So here's some samples of our guys at work doing part 2 of the inspection. We include the testing. We've read the statute thousands of times. You have to do the testing. Some companies don't and just do visual. Although that might seem appealing at first, I would be very wary of anybody who's only doing a visual, because what that means is to protect themselves from any liability. They're going to flag everything. They're going to flag every single crack, every single stain, anything that they see, because they want to make sure then that they put it back on the property manager or the HOA or the landlord of, look, we flagged everything. You need to go check all of that. When we're doing testing, we're at least ruling out structural damage from no structural damage. So if you have a 20 balcony property, our testing will see, okay, maybe only 2 of them had an issue and need the waterproofing replaced. Whereas somebody who's only doing a visual will flag all 20 of them. Then you may have to do destructive testing to all of them and do another step. And it just opens a big can of worms of unnecessary steps and spending that could have been ruled out and avoided, and at least narrowed down by including your bore scope testing in the first place. So that's my 2 cents on why it's important to have that done. After you do your inspection, you are required to receive a compliance report. So I want to spend a couple of minutes now. This is just an example of our report. A lot of companies, because we see third-party reports probably on a daily basis, have similar scales, because we are required to follow certain requirements on the waterproofing, the load-bearing components, future performance, stuff like that. We have to rate each element that we inspect, so that way did it pass, did it fail, does it need a repair, emergency repair, non-emergency repair, things like that. So let's say you're an HOA or you're a landlord or whatever it is, and you're done. You received your report. We know that your report can be anywhere from 10 pages to 1,000 pages, depending on the size of your property. And it could look like a whole bunch of construction jargon. We've seen it all: color codings, F1, F2, so many ratings, basically. One balcony alone can have like 6 ratings. And you're like, what on earth do I do with this? Send it to us. We will review it. We will help you narrow down what's urgent, what isn't. Do you have any emergencies that you have to take care of? Are you on any deadline to take care of something? What's just maintenance? What do you have a couple years to address? We will help point all of those things out to you. We can even help you review bid sheets, basically. If you have our bid or if you don't have our bid and you want kind of an objective view, you can even redact whatever info you want, and we will help point out what is actually addressing the needs versus what isn't, because we see a whole lot of bids. We see, inspections that are flagging structural issues, but then you get a bid for somebody who's just going to spray a top coat. So you think, oh, well, this is cheaper, I'm just going to go with them, but they're not even meeting what you have to do. And who knows, they may be trying to be sneaky, come in with a cheap bid, sign, get in there and be like, oops, look, you have to repair this. And then they're going to hit you with change orders. So you want to be careful with companies who aren't even bidding the correct scope of work, because they're either going to not do it correctly, which you're going to be liable for because you hired them. And then somebody could get hurt if that damage gets worse, or they're going to hit you with several change orders once they've already started. So it's very important that they actually address the correct scope of work. That's on your report, on your plans, whatever it is you have. So again, we offer those report reviews. If you want us to hop into a board meeting, we can do that and go over the reports, whether it's ours or a different company's. We will help you see it as objectively as possible. Again, you can redact whatever info you want, so you don't have to worry about any bias there. So yeah, that does it for the inspection. So after your inspection, you need to get a report. You hang on to these reports. As of now, they require a minimum 2 cycles. For apartments, the cycles are 6 years each. For HOAs, the cycle 9 years each. So you have to hang on to this. Let's say you complete your repairs, because we get these questions a lot. You complete your repairs. Typically, a reinspection is not necessary. Nobody wants to go out there again, just to kind of be honest with you. And number 2, if the repair was done right, this is why we don't have to go out there again. Because if your repair was done properly, if permits were pulled, if necessary, that permit alone is your proof that the repair was done. If a permit is pulled, there was an inspector out there signing off on it. So now you have a green light with the city that it was done already. So that's another reason. We don't need to go out there again if your repair was done right, if it was with somebody licensed and permits were pulled if necessary. And our rule of thumb is, if you are removing and replacing something, a permit needs to be pulled. If you're just doing a resurfacing or some type of layer on top, sometimes a permit does not have to be pulled for that, because you're not removing and changing anything with the structure, with the walkway, whatever it is. But if you are removing, whether it's a rotted joist, removing the waterproofing system, removing the guardrails, and then changing them, a permit must be pulled. And think about it. You don't want somebody on there removing and changing stuff without the city telling you if they were doing it right, because you may not know if they're doing it right. You may trust them and think that they're doing it right, but a whole lot of times, unfortunately, they might not be doing it right. And the only way you're going to know that is if you have a third-party inspector from the city or deputy, whatever it is, out there on site approving the work. So again, that's why permits are very, very, very important. And you don't have to be scared of the permit. The contractor should be scared of the permit, because they're the ones who have to do it right. Nothing's going to reflect negatively on you when a permit is pulled. That just holds the contractor accountable for the work that they're doing. So that about does it for my balcony section. And now I will segue into our ADU portion. So you may or may not know, ADUs can also be paired with retrofitting requirements. So if you have to retrofit that tuck under parking area, you can convert it at the same time into a unit while also meeting the retrofit code. 2 sets of plans have to be submitted, because you still have to retrofit it, whether you're using different elements or not. You can't just convert it, put, tile up and a kitchen, and now it's not soft story. It still is soft story. There's no structural elements that met the new retrofitting codes. So you still have to retrofit the building. It'll just maybe be done differently. And then at the same time, you can convert it into the ADU. If you've already retrofitted your building and now you want to convert, you can do that as well. So Either path works. Here are the general rules for the ADUs. They vary a little bit, or a lot actually, between single family homes and multifamily. Multifamily homes can do the most ADUs, and thanks to Senate Bill 1211 that passed maybe a year ago, maybe 2, I don't even know anymore, you can actually do up to 8 detached ADUs, but no more than the existing number of units. Height allowance has changed as well in the last couple of years. Sizing, the general max I've been seeing is like 1,000, 1,200. Sometimes you can do more, but more likely than not, you'll want to do more units that are smaller than just one large unit too. It makes sense for your return and potential rent. So here's a little number, whatever diagram, graph, I don't know what you want to call it, with how many units you can do. If you have a 16-unit building, you can convert and do at least 4 conversions. And then you can also build detached units, space permitting, of course. You still have to adhere to setbacks, building separation, and fire department rules. Single-family homes can do 2 units, a regular ADU and a junior ADU, and there are some rules with that. So now here are some samples of some ADUs that we've done. This is the same building. So we go, from this was just like an old carport actually, to now a brand new 2-bedroom unit. Here's another property that needed seismic retrofitting and ADU at the same time. So as you can see here, it's being retrofitted. There's grade beams, there's footings, everything like that. So it's doing both at the same time for the retrofit and the ADU. And here is what that beautiful unit looks like now. Very nice. And this is what it looks like from the outside. Also very nice. And that about does it. So we're located in Tarzana. So you can meet us at our property, or not property, at our office. We can meet you at your property. Walkthroughs, report reviews. If you have retrofit plans that you need a bid on, please send them to us. We can review them and provide you with a bid. That is our phone number on the right, 844-72-BUILD. You could reach us at info@retrofit1.com, info@balcony1.com. Again, we're all the same company, so it doesn't matter where you go or contact, you will reach us. We always, I think 99.9% of the time, have a live person answering. Feel free to check out all of our other videos. If you're here on YouTube, we have a bunch of educational videos, bunch of ADU videos, balcony videos, retrofitting videos. So just let us know what you need and we can help you. So thank you everybody for tuning in. Again, my name is Helen with One Structural and our divisions Retrofit 1, ADU 1, and Balcony 1. And we hope to work with you soon. Thank you so much and see you guys next time. Bye everybody.